That's 4 yes vote, 2 abstain. That would be Councilmember Duffy and Hayden.
Very good. So we'll move right into our one item on the regular agenda. And Lindsay?
Consideration and action adopting the tentative expenditure limitation budget for Marley Park CFD for fiscal year 2019 in the amount of $4,322,100, authorizing publication of said tentative budget and setting public hearing on June 5th, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. at the City of Surprise Council Chambers. This is Resolution MPCFD 2018-01.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. We have before you tonight the fiscal year 2019 tentative budget. I'll go through what the CFD is, how it works, and how the budget is put together. So the Community Facilities District is a special purpose district under the Arizona Revised Statutes. It allows us to either finance, acquire, or construct public infrastructure within a certain defined area. Only those that are within that defined area are subject to a property tax that is levied to pay for both the debt and a portion of the operations and maintenance. There is a cap on the amount that can be used for operations and maintenance of the division, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And it is technically a separate political subdivision of the City of Surprise, but it is administered and maintained by staff and by the mayor and council sitting as the board of the district. The Marley Park Community Facilities District was created in 2004. There are currently approximately 2,900 parcels, and as I mentioned before, the mayor and council serve as the Community Facility District's board of directors. This is generally a map of the district. There's two number 7 shaped parcels. It's spanning between Reams Road and Litchfield Road, between Waddell and Cactus, and they're approximately 3/4 each of those square miles. And you can see that the western half, west of Bullard, has been generally developed and built out. The eastern half is under construction, and you can see that area in the pink color at the bottom is currently under construction. There's houses going in there. And then we have movement on that parcel to the north that's kind of that gray shade. The Marley Park CFD, when it was created, had $80 million of bonding authority for the acquisition of public infrastructure. It was set up so that $40 million was to be reimbursed to the developer upon construction of that infrastructure, and then another $40 million after that first 40 was available for any further future improvements. We don't have any planned at this point in time. We're still working on that first $40 million. General obligation bonds, we've had $13.5 million issued to date. We've had 4 different bond sales to reimburse a portion of the infrastructure. I'll go into which segments those have been. So there's potentially $26.5 million left of outstanding authority under that $40 million. And then we know there's approximately $6.5 million of installed infrastructure awaiting reimbursement. So that is roads and park acres that have been constructed, the public has been utilizing, but we have yet to pay for. So the developer constructed it with their own money. We utilize the secondary property tax to repay bonds, and we use the bonds to repay the developer. So $6.5 million outstanding. To date, we have reimbursed approximately $15.3 million. Generally, a number of road segments, I won't read each, but they are both the arterials and internal collectors. Items awaiting reimbursement of that $6.3 million, approximately half of that has been submitted to the city, reviewed, and approved by city staff between the Public Works Department and the Finance Department. It has to follow the public procedures for procurement as well as the proper documentation of the construction of the roadways, as well as the park. So to date, we have reimbursed a portion of the park. We still have the remainder outstanding. We have Bullard Avenue, Litchfield Road, and a portion of Old Oak. For the tentative budget, we are looking at expenditures of approximately $4.3 million and a transfer out of $2.8 million for total uses of approximately $7.2 million. It is our plan this year to sell additional bonds to reimburse an additional portion of the infrastructure. Up to that $2.8 million is what we expect to get in proceeds. And so continuing on our commitment to purchase that infrastructure from the developer since they've installed it in the early 2000s. So the sources of funds, we're looking at the property tax is approximately $85,000 for the operations. That is the piece that is capped at 30 cents per $100 of assessed valuation and may be used for operations and maintenance of the infrastructure. And for Marley Park, we utilize that to pay for a portion of the water that waters the park at Heritage Park. The property tax, the debt service component, is $1.2 million. We are looking at setting a rate of $4.06 to repay that debt service. And then we would anticipate bond proceeds of approximately $3 million. As you saw before, approximately $2.9 million of that would be used to repay the developer, and the rest is cost of issuance. And then we have a fund balance of approximately $86,000, so our total sources of $4.3 million. Total expenditures, those operations, that's the 30 cents for operations and maintenance, $80,600 to offset costs in the Community and Recreation Services Department. Financial services would be those cost of issuances associated with that debt issuance at approximately $153,000. We anticipate principal and interest payments of $600,000 and approximately $500,000, and that includes all of our outstanding issues as well as the new issuance. And then the capital reimbursement of approximately $2.9 million to the developer, and then holding a contingency of approximately $78,000. So our total uses of $4.3 million. There was a legislation change last year that affected the bonds that are secured with property tax. And so there was a law that stated that the cash balance cannot exceed 10% of the annual debt service carried from one year to the next. And so we have a plan to spend down that fund balance by fiscal year 2019. And we have done so, and we are planning to have less than 7% in fund balance in 19 and less than 5% in 2020 as we do this multi-year plan. So looking at the property tax rates, as we discussed last year, we anticipated the rate rising over 2 years to meet the maximum amount that was included in the documents when the district was formed to allow us to repay that infrastructure to the and reimburse it to the developer. And so we are looking at fiscal year 2019, $4.36 with the combined $4.06 from the debt service side and the 30 cents from the operations and maintenance side. And you can see that is below the maximum rate that we stated we would stay below, and that's at $4.71. And so we anticipate meeting that rate by next year until we have the infrastructure repaid to the developer, and so we can maintain our debt payments over the life of those bonds. And this is consistent with what we had planned on last year, and the growth in the property tax is not assumed with this. We assumed a conservative flat growth, but we know in the future from the additional development within the district as well as increases in valuations that would likely go up, hence the rate would come down. But this is a conservative forecast for the time being. We look at 3 separate houses and their changes in the property tax amounts over time. So looking at the estimate for 2018's property tax year, which is coming up for fiscal year 2019, the smaller home would have approximately a $7 per month increase, and then approximately $19 per month for the larger home. So these are 3 specific houses that we look at just to show you the range of prices and the range of taxes within the district. With that, we have scheduled a community meeting confirmed only today for May 22nd. We bring this information to the residents and owners in the Marley Park Community Facilities District and help entertain their conversation and help educate them on how the district works. We plan to adopt the final budget on June 5th in another board meeting, and then adopt the property tax levy on June 19th. That I'd be happy to entertain any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you. First of all, my comment is you always do a great job at this, and I do appreciate it. And I know our residents in Marley Park really appreciate the way this is handled by staff and their representatives. And so it's always very, very clear. And I very much appreciate that, because this can get a little sticky. Some people outside of Marley Park don't understand why we're sitting here talking about one neighborhood and the role that we play in the CFD. So thank you for making certain that everybody really does understand.
Thank you.
So with that, I'll entertain any questions or comments. I see no questions or comments, so I'll entertain a motion.
We both pointed at each other. I move to approve the tentative Marley Park.
Resolution.
I move to approve resolution MPCFD number 2018-01.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve resolution MPCFD of this board, and so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn this board.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. This meeting is adjourned.